Dearest Super Friends, this is Lady Elena from Technically a Conversation, and I've got some tea to spill. If you would like to receive that tea 1 week early, ad-free, and get some really cool stickers that are voted by you, then please subscribe to our Patreon. I really don't want to start an OnlyFans page, and your Tío Pepe from Sunland Park has already resorted to selling feet pics on the interwebs. And Lord knows what Isela will get herself into. Please help stop the madness. Lucky for you, all we are asking for is $2 a month as opposed to the $5 Tío Pepe is charging per toe. And who knows, we might throw in some feet pics in there for you for subscribing, if you're into that kind of thing, of course. But those will cost you more than the $2. Support us by logging into patreon.com/technicallyaconversation or check our show notes.
In the late 1890s, Nepal villagers began disappearing from the forests and surrounding areas at an alarming rate. They soon discovered that they were being attacked by a 500-pound Bengal tiger. The Nepal army was able to scare the tiger to the Champawat region of India, but not before it had claimed the life of 200 villagers. In Champawat, its killing rampage continued, claiming 236 more lives. This week, we'll discuss the Champawat Maneater and why it started targeting humans as its prey, why it claimed so many human lives, and the man that was able to finally stop her killing spree. On this episode of Technically a Conversation. Greetings, you're listening to Technically a Conversation, a podcast where we share an interesting topic or story with each other and hope you find it interesting as well. I'm one half of your host, Jose, and I'm joined today by my lovely co-host, Isela. How are you doing today?
I'm a little hungry, but I'm all right. How are you doing?
Always a little hungry?
I am. You're right. I am in a perpetual state of hunger.
Oh, I meant that I'm always hungry. Still have a cold, so I appreciate your patience. We can get through it together.
Yes, we can. We both sound a little fucked up, but you know what? So is the world. All right, cool.
Yeah. And I thought I was the only optimist on this podcast.
Of course, it's 2 rays of sunshine right here coming at you.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Right. Yeah, our little storm clouds.
Alrighty, Salah, time for the monthly status update on your black finger. What's the latest update?
I'm so glad you asked. Actually, I'm not. No, I'm going to show you this on camera. There's no more black nail.
You're able to exercise the darkness out of you.
But it did break.
Oh.
Because
you kept on picking at it.
Yeah, a portion of it was already like falling off or whatever. So it was, and in fact, it was while I was in Vegas this weekend. So it started to get caught on like my clothes. I know. All my sequins, my shiny Mirrorball clothing wear that I was wearing.
Your tassels and
all
that shit.
Calm down. So I had to go and cut it off. Now it just looks really gross.
Did you try my suggestion, put a little bit of Bondo there and then just paint over it?
No, because I knew it was a matter of time that it was going to like grow out. So I'm glad it grew out. But yeah, now I just want to wear Lee press-on nails or any kind of press-on nails to just take away the ugliness. Because right now I have the man hands, you know? I have the plumber hands or something.
Well, I'm glad that your finger is doing much better. Thank you for bringing us along on this saga, letting us all be a part of this with you.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really wanted to be, but I know I dragged you guys because it was painful for a little bit. But now, hopefully the worst is over.
Hey, I was super invested in the story.
My poor black finger, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of being invested in something, remember how last time I was saying that RFK Jr. is the gift that keeps on giving?
The crazy ass, yeah.
I honestly don't think that I can keep up with all the news coming out of this man.
No, what?
So first we got the parasitic worm that ate part of his brain.
Right.
Which makes me wonder if I have a parasitic worm too, because I find myself like fucking shit up a lot. So I don't know if it's a parasite or if it's just that I'm sleep deprived.
That too. I think you have parasitic worm FOMO.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I think if I did have a parasitic worm, it'd be nice to get my parasitic worm and his parasitic worm together to fuck.
Oh, wow. Nobody wants to see it. Do they? I thought they were like asexual. Aren't they like eels? Or I don't know what eels are. Now we're just starting rumors.
We got reports that he barbecued a dog, only to walk that one back when he understandably got a lot of backlash.
Ugh, of course.
I think he pulled a JK or JFK. Just fucking kidding. It was actually a goat on that one.
Oh, Lord. Like it makes it any better.
Yeah. Who can forget the bear cub carcass he dumped in Central Park?
Right.
Now he's being investigated for using a chainsaw to cut a whale's head off and traveling across state lines with it tied to the roof of his car. Were you familiar with this one?
Oh my gosh. What is happening with this guy? Can someone please put a leash on him?
Well, luckily we have a recording of him talking about this too.
Oh, this we got to hear.
I was falconing at a beach party at Peter Luger's Steakhouse. No, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. I feel like shit doing that.
I know. You're like, no, literally, my throat hurts. Just kidding.
You know what? I was practicing it for that bit, and I did so much better while practicing. But now since we got a hot mic, of course, I can't replicate it.
Yeah, all those takes, all the good takes went on the practice.
Yeah. I only had 3 good takes, and I wasted them all.
It's all right.
So this is actually an old story that recently came up from an interview RFK Jr.'s daughter, Kik Kennedy, did with Town and Country magazine in 2012. In the interview, Kik Kennedy was talking about her father's fascination with animal skulls and skeletons, and when RFK learned about a whale that washed up on a beach near Hyannisport, Massachusetts, he sped to the scene. Quote, he ran down to the beach with a chainsaw, cut off the whale's head, and then bungee corded it to the roof of the family minivan for a 5-hour haul back to Mount Kisco, New York. Every time we accelerated on the highway, whale juice would pour into the window of the car, and it was the rankest thing on the planet. We all had plastic bags over our heads with mouth holes cut out, and people on the highway were giving us the finger, but that was just normal day-to-day stuff for us.
What? This is disgusting. That's the most disgusting thing I've heard. And we've talked about some real sick shit.
I know. Imagine that shit, like fucking whale juice just pouring into your car.
Yeah, the juice is loose. I don't want that on me. Can you imagine? You would smell like that for days.
I know. Just when I get like fish juice on me, like if I'm making like salmon or something.
Right.
Like that already smells gross. Now imagine a dead whale juice getting all over you.
And then it's all putrid because who knows how long it had been sitting there? Ugh. Oh, that's so nasty.
I know. It is so gross. And I don't know. I really kind of want to smell that van now because, okay, so if it's the same van that he had that fucking dead bear cub in, like what kind of horrible nightmare was this fucking van full of whale juice and, you know, a dead bear cub?
Bear cub carcass. And those are just the 2 stories we've heard. He probably has stories about how he slayed a dragon and there's dragon's blood in there, you know?
Yeah, or whatever he caught while falconing at Peter Luger's Steakhouse or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
I don't even know what that is, but I just like saying Peter Luger's Steakhouse.
You sound like that Bob Durst guy. Anyway, that's funny.
All right. So this would normally just be another cute anecdote from RFK Jr.
Oh.
Lovable. Everybody loves the guy.
Oh.
But Brett Hartle from NOAA is actually demanding a formal inquiry into the situation. He stated, quote, normally an unverified anecdote would not provide sufficient evidence as the basis for conducting an investigation. The bear story made it seem like this was normal behavior for him, so he may also possess additional illegal collected wildlife parts. Mr. Kennedy's apparent transport of the marine mammal skull from Massachusetts to New York and therefore across state lines also represented a felony violation. And Hartle also added that it was also illegal to possess part of any animal protected by the Endangered Species Act.
He got busted. All because he wanted to flex about this weird shit he did.
Well, it wasn't even he who flexed. It was the daughter that shared that charming story in Town and Country magazine.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I'm glad they're looking into it because what else are they going to uncover? Like, clearly, motherfucker's off his rocker. Like, let's find out what else is going on.
And it was funny when the news first broke a couple of weeks ago. Lawrence O'Donnell from MSNBC said that RFK Jr. is the Jeffrey Dahmer of the animal kingdom.
Oh. Well, if that's not loving, I don't know what is.
I know. God bless RFK Jr. He is such a national treasure.
Son of... Wow. I don't know. I mean, like, so much entertainment and yet too much entertainment. Cut your shit out, bro.
All right, enough fucking Irani Salah. Ready to get started?
Always.
Great. Let's get started. So tomorrow is the first day of October, and I was looking for something really scary to start off the Halloween season right. So this one is, you're not going to have to suspend disbelief or subscribe to magical thinking for this one, but it's also not really scary. It's more of an oddity. But I can assure you, if you ever came face to face with what we're about to talk about right now, it would terrify you. Or at least it terrified me, but I know that you're tougher than I am. You have the black fingernail, long praised as a visual sign of courage and bravery.
I don't know. It's more of a visual sign of stupidity. Anyway, okay, I'm excited about this then. Let's hear this oddity tale.
All right. Hopefully you've never heard of this.
Okay.
The following is from an India Times article by Bobbins Abraham and a Daily Mail article by Zach Campbell. Links in the show notes. In the late 1890s, in the Rampage village of Nepal, there was a sudden increase in the number of residents that would disappear in the forests and surrounding areas. The mystery was short-lived, as it didn't take long for the villagers to discover that the residents were being attacked by a 500-pound Bengal tiger. Several attempts were made to hunt down this tiger, but none of them were successful. After the 200th confirmed kill, the Nepal army was brought in to join the hunt, but they were also unsuccessful. The massive hunting party did manage to chase the tiger across the Sarda River to Champawat in the Kumaon region of India, where the man-eater continued her murdering rampage. Bounty hunters, police officers, army troops, and even the British government were unsuccessful in capturing or killing the elusive animal. An additional 236 more lives would be lost before the Champawat Maneater would be stopped. What led this tiger to develop an insatiable lust for human blood, and who was finally able to stop her? Now, before we go over this story in detail, were you familiar with the Champawat Maneater?
I've never heard of the Champawat Maneater. That sounds crazy and hungry.
It definitely was very hungry. What are your thoughts so far?
I mean, I definitely want to find out more. Like, was he raised on some kind of human meat? And maybe that's why he was sniffing it, and just much like how we have grown to love Chicos, and Chicos is not necessarily the best tasting, but we like it and we start salivating when we smell it. Maybe that's like one of those things.
That's just your opinion, man. I happen to think that Chicos is the best and it smells the best.
It used to be the best, and now the meat is just so cheap and gross.
Well, you're also a vegan though, so you can't really enjoy it.
I'm not a vegan for the 200th time.
Oh, sorry. So I don't know if I'll have a definitive answer for you, but we will definitely have a theory that makes a lot of sense. And there will be a little bit of evidence to back up this theory as well. Because, I like evidence.
Yes, absolutely.
So before we go into it more, how do you think that the Champawat Maneater was finally stopped?
I would imagine that somebody had to have trapped him of some sort. You said he was a white tiger, a white Bengal tiger?
It doesn't say if it's a white Bengal tiger, but it is a Bengal tiger.
Oh, maybe that's what I was thinking. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Maybe J.J. Arms adopted him and it was in part of J.J. Arms' zoo.
That's right. He lowered himself down and then he just, with his hook, he just kind of, just kidding.
All right, we'll see if you're right.
All right.
So as we stated, the Champawat Maneater or Champawat Tiger or the Devil of Champawat, I saw it called all those names. was believed to weigh over 220 kilograms or 500 pounds and was believed to have been born between 1895 and 1897. I think that it's safe to say that most people that would encounter a tiger out in the wild wouldn't stick around long enough to see how the fuck around and find out process would play out.
Right.
A tiger will definitely attack a human if it feels threatened, but humans aren't high on the list of prey that tigers usually hunt. A tiger wouldn't walk into an Albertsons with the intentions of buying human meat unless it was trying out a new recipe it found on Pinterest for Joe Methane's world-famous hamburgers.
Of course.
So yeah, I like to tie all my episodes together somehow.
Yeah.
However clumsily I can do that.
It's okay. You did it. You did it.
Now, she was a female Bengal tiger, and initially it was thought that she might have tasted human blood and developed a taste for it, as is the case for other animals that become man-eaters. But there were actually a lot of factors that probably led to this tiger hunting humans, including loss of habitat and loss of prey. This was also during the trophy hunting days, and hunters primarily targeted tigers during that time. Now I'm going to drop the Midnight Shyamalan moment early on this episode.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Not all tigers that were shot by hunters are killed. Some survived with injuries. It is believed that the Champawat Maneater had been shot in the face due to its upper and lower canine teeth on the right side of its face being shattered and broken. As a result, the tiger was no longer able to defend its turf from other tigers and was no longer able to hunt for its usual prey, so it started looking for easier prey, humans.
Oh, wow. Okay, this is definitely making a lot more sense. This is also probably why he hates people. And he's like, I'm going to eat your family too. You know what I mean?
True. I don't know if tigers can reason like that, but, it's a lot easier to hunt a poor defenseless human, especially if it was a small child or a woman, which most of these attacks were, than it was to hunt an antelope with only two canine teeth. So
Right.
Now, it's not really certain when exactly the Champawat Maneater started attacking humans in Nepal, since initially they just noticed villagers disappearing from the forest. But when they noticed that they were being attacked by a tiger, they initially thought it was multiple tigers that were targeting humans because the attacks became so frequent. Either way, the villagers knew they had to stop this man-eater or man-eaters, and there were several attempts by the villagers to hunt the tiger down, but every attempt failed. The tiger was more intelligent and cunning than any other tiger that they had ever dealt with, and after the 200th confirmed human kill, the Nepal army joined the hunt. And I like how they waited until exactly 200 people had been killed by the tiger to do anything.
Yeah.
Made the paperwork look cleaner to have a good round number. You have to admire their self-restraint not to get involved any sooner. That's dedication.
Yeah. It's such an arbitrary number. Like, we're going to wait till 206 and a half.
But 200 is a good round number.
That's a lot. Like, man.
Yeah, it is. And of course, I'm joking. I can't believe that
Of course.
they had to wait until 200 people had been killed before the Nepal army decided to do anything.
Yeah. Well, they were busy,
Yeah, doing army stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah. Army stuff.
So what do army people do? They do army stuff.
They're out in the field. They do this and that.
They play with their walkie-talkies, blow up stuff, shoot at cans.
Yeah, shoot a can.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure. With the tanks.
So the Nepal army was joined by a massive hunting party, including hunters and volunteers. But despite the Nepal's army's unwavering discipline, they were not successful in hunting down the beast and only scared it across the Sarda River to the Champawat region of India. In Champawat, the tiger continued its reign of terror and started attacking the villagers of Champawat and the surrounding villages. Some observations that were made at the time were that most of the victims being attacked, like I said earlier, were women and young girls that went into or near the forest to collect fodder for their cattle. This also happened during the day, which is unique because tigers are primarily nocturnal hunters. Much like Nepal, the people of India also attempted to hunt this savage beast down. There were even huge rewards and bounties being offered to anyone that could kill the tiger, but the hunters were also unsuccessful. They soon learned that they were being outsmarted by the tiger, as after every kill, the tiger would travel large distances at night, going between forests and villages. By the time the villagers noticed the tiger claimed another victim and they got a mob of people with torches and pitchforks together to look for her, she was already sipping Coke and Bacardi with another boo in a different zip code.
Oh, nice.
But her days were numbered as Jim Corbett had just entered the chat. Jim Corbett? Who dat?
Yeah.
You'll find out after this quick commercial break.
Eee.
Pack your body bags. We're going on a slaycation. Tim, what's a slaycation?
A slaycation is a murder or mysterious death that happens while you're on vacation.
If you like to mix humor with horror and travel,
Join me, Kim Davis,
And me, Adam Tex Davis.
and me, Jerry Colbert,
as we look at the craziest slaycations that will have you asking, what the F is wrong with people? You can find Slaycation on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Just remember, getting away can be murder.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Did you hunt down any Champawat Maneaters during our break?
I tried to make them my friend, and he said he's down for Scrabble.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Just kidding.
So I guess that kind of answers my next question. I was going to ask, did any tigers attack you while we were gone?
That tiger that you're talking about sounds very cunning, and that's the person that you need on your team for Scrabble. So that's what I'm going to go with.
That sounds like like as good a theory as any.
So random. That's so random. I know. Sometimes these jokes are not designed for anybody, guys. Just so you know. No one's laughing.
Hey, I'm laughing.
I appreciate that.
So what do you think about the story thus far?
It's really intriguing. I mean, it sounds very, very smart. It knows how to outrun and when to hunt and how to hunt. I mean, which makes sense, right? It's a tiger. But I'm very curious to see what they catch when they do catch it. And are there pictures at least? Like, I want to see pictures. Where are the receipts, you know?
There are pictures, actually.
Yay!
Now, before our break, we mentioned that Jim Corbett had mounted up like he was Nate Dogg and Warren G and was about to regulate this motherfucker.
I like that song.
Me too.
It's a good callback. Old one.
A good callback to one of the last times that we hung out and we were listening to Regulate.
To Warren G. Yeah, exactly.
So you're probably picturing that Jim Corbett must be a total badass hunter with a waxed mustache, spinning his guns around like he was fucking Johnny Ringo.
Yeah.
That description couldn't be further from the truth.
No, he's like Mr. Magoo, or what does he look like?
No, he was just kind of like a regular looking old man. The only part about that description is maybe the mustache, although he had more of an old man push broom mustache than a Wild West waxed mustache.
Missed opportunity, bro.
Yeah, could have been handsomer and and younger.
I mean, when you're already a character, might as well just get into full character, you know? Wear the crazy hats and, you know, whatever. Wear the silly things you want to wear.
True. But he actually didn't start off as a hunter. And I'll actually talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to fuck up all these names, so I apologize in advance. The Deputy Commissioner of Nyantal, Charles Henry Berthoud, had gone to visit his friend Jim Corbett, who was a railway worker, born and raised in the hills of Kumaon, Uttarakhand. Corbett himself wasn't a hunter, like I said, but he had spent his formative years tracking with the indigenous people of the area and knew the area and the surrounding jungles very well. He was also the Michael Winslow of the Indian jungle, as he could imitate the grunts of a leopard and the chuffing of a tiger, which he would use to great comedic effect to prank people at dinner parties. Well, actually, that part I made up. The article states his impressions were so accurate that he, quote, sent a collective shiver through a dinner party.
Oh.
So if you don't remember who Michael Winslow was, he was the guy from Police Academy that would make all those sound effects.
Yeah. But why would they get so scared? They know that they're safe in a dinner party. You know what I mean?
It was the 1890s. I don't know.
People were dumb back then.
People were so stupid back then.
I'm just kidding. It's a wonder how they made the pyramids. They were so stupid back then.
Yeah, so either way, it's still a cool party trick. Some people tell jokes, others do card tricks. I stand around awkwardly, avoiding prolonged eye contact with pretty girls while pretending that I'm cool and get text messages also. Jim Corbett made animal sounds.
Everybody's got their thing.
Yep. So Jim Corbett, who had not killed a single tiger up to that point, accepted the challenge on 2 conditions. One, he asked that the man-eater's bounty be withdrawn as he did not want to do it for the money. 2, he demanded that all other hunting parties be called off. Berthoud agreed to his demands and began pursuing the Champawat Maneater in the village of Pali, where the tiger had just managed its 435th documented human kill. Corbett assembled a group of 300 of the village's top villagers. They were instructed by Corbett to be ready, firing rifles, pounding drums, and screaming as loud as their lungs would allow. Imagine the NRA infiltrating an assault weapon reform rally.
300 people yelling. That seems already a little scary, though.
300 people?
Yeah, right? You said it was 300 people going out there and like being prepared or whatever. That does seem like a little scary already.
It is a little scary. I would definitely be scared if 300 anything came towards me. And if it was 300 ants, I would be scared of that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So while Corbett was pursuing the tigress, she made one fatal mistake. She attacked her 436th victim, a woman collecting firewood. This allowed Corbett to follow the trail of blood into the forest and came face to face, eye to eye, mano a mano with the devil of Champawat.
Hey.
He aimed his gun at the ferocious feline, but he missed. He took 2 more shots at the striped apparition as she ran towards our brave hero, but it was not enough to stop her. Corbett was out of bullets, and the murderous maiden was less than 20 feet away. So Corbett got his team of villagers to bang their drums and draw the beast out of hiding. He got another rifle from a fellow villager. The drumming worked and annoyed the furious feline out of its hiding place. As it lunged at Corbett, Corbett shot the Champawat Maneater, delivering the fatal blow that put a yellow cone in its path of destruction. So after killing the most famous tiger that has probably ever lived, Corbett was solicited by other communities to help kill their own man-eaters. Most of these man-eaters had similar stories to the Champawat Maneater. The tigers had similar human-inflicted injuries that prevented them from hunting their usual prey, so the tiger resorted to hunting humans for their survival. After witnessing this, as well as how much the tiger numbers in the wild had plummeted due to trophy hunting, Corbett became a conservationist and helped establish the Haley National Park, India's first national park. The park was renamed after Corbett in 1957, and that is the story of the Champawat Maneater, killer of 436 people.
So Corbett went from initially killer.
Well, he went from a railway worker.
Yeah, that's true. To killer, capturer, and then conservationist.
Yeah, so there's still hope for RFK Jr., I think.
What a yeah. What an arc that main character took. Wow.
Yeah.
So when it was 20 feet away, they were able to get a really good close-up view of it.
Yeah, and there's a picture of Corbett with the tiger, the tiger carcass.
Oh, man. I can't wait to see that. That's really wild. 400 people, though. That's
436 people confirmed. It might have been more. It was not less, but it was at least 436 people.
That's really crazy.
Yeah, and I think they pulled an RFK Jr. and cut the head off, and they had the head mounted like at some museum or something.
No. Oh, man.
Yeah, apparently this village where this all happened, pretty much everything was Jim Corbett this. It was like Jim Corbett Waterfall, Jim Corbett Rainforest, Jim Corbett, like everything is named after Jim Corbett.
Well, because he saved the day or saved the village.
Definitely saved the village. Yeah.
Jeez. Wow.
So that kind of got my blood pressure elevated just a little, all the suspense.
Yeah.
How about some whiskey to relax a bit?
Whiskey talk is always great. A little whiskey down.
Yep. So my whiskey pick for this week is another Scotch. So originally I was going to cover Monkey Shoulder and the origins of the name, but a couple of guys at Specs highly recommended that I try this.
Oh.
Especially since I'm getting into peated Scotch. I don't know if you could see the bottle, but the name looks like someone had a stroke while typing. But it's actually pronounced Bunnahabhain, and it's Gaelic for mouth of the river.
Bunnahabhain. Okay, cool. I like the name.
It is a cool name. If you look at the spelling, it doesn't look like that's what it says, but
yeah, it's like it's like that's a commitment for a name. That's quite the commitment.
Oh, you know how those crazy Gaelics are with their letters and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is their 12-year single malt expression, and it's actually become my new favorite Scotch. I absolutely love it.
Nice.
Now, even though this is from the Islay region of Scotland, it's unique because it's one of only a couple of Islay Scotches that are non-peated. Islay is known for having a lot of peated Scotch. Bunnahabhain is not. So why would Bunnahabhain be recommended to someone getting into peated Scotch? Doesn't make sense, right? So for most people that don't like Scotch, the thing they probably don't like about it is the peat. For those that don't like it, they think that it tastes like medical gauze or medicine-y. And I can see where people get that, and I can see why they wouldn't like it. But personally, I think that it's delicious. I get more of a campfire-y taste more than a medical gauze, but we're all different. Some people love rye whiskey. I feel like it tastes like grass clippings. I love cilantro. Some people think it tastes like soap. We all like different things, and no one should ever have to defend what they like and don't like.
Yeah, different strokes.
Exactly. Bunnahabhain, while not peated, does contain a little bit of peat just from the proximity to all the other Islay Scotches that are being produced in the area. And I've seen some sources say that it contains about 3 parts per million. So it's really small, but it's enough to give it a mildly smoky taste, but without tasting like it was aged in the finest medical gauze barrels that money could buy.
That's funny.
When I was first trying it, it actually reminded me a lot of Johnny Walker Black Label, but it's richer, more refined, tastier version of it.
Okay.
Have you ever had Johnny Walker Black Label?
I have, yeah. It was a long time ago, but yes, I remember thinking it had a really good flavor.
Yeah, it's pretty good for being well, I shouldn't say that, because a lot of people do like blended scotches.
You could just say it's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for a blended scotch.
Yeah.
So that mild peatiness is why it's a good gateway drug for those looking into getting into peat. You get the smokiness you're probably looking for, but it's mild enough that it won't completely turn off and discourage a beginner, a noob when it comes to scotch. And the way that peat is used when you're making a single malt whiskey, what you normally do is you wet the barley so that it sprouts. The theory is that when barley sprouts or starts to germinate, it contains more sugar. Sugar is what yeast feeds on, and the byproduct of that is alcohol. So the more sugar content in your barley, the more alcohol that you get when you introduce the yeast. The problem with having wet barley is that it's also a very hospitable environment for mold to form. So as soon as it sprouts, they have to dry it out to prevent mold from forming. Before there were industrial-sized ovens, they pretty much turned the whole floor of the building that they were doing this in into an oven by burning peat, which is like a form of coal. The smoke from the peat would give the barley a pleasant flavor, and the heat would dry it out and stop it from germinating and from forming mold. And even though there is not a need to do this anymore, since industrial-sized ovens are more practical and most distilleries already buy their barley malted, a lot of distilleries still do this for the unique flavor it gives a scotch. Even though Bunnahabhain doesn't use peat to dry out its malt, so many nearby distilleries do that it still picks up a mild smokiness just from where it is in relation to the other distilleries.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was weird because before I found that out, like I said, it reminded me a lot of Johnny Walker Black. And I was like, well, this does taste pretty peaty. But on the container, it says non-peated. Let me see. I'll tell you exactly what it says. Sherried, sweet, unpeated. So I was like, maybe I got the smokiness from the barrels that they aged it in. But then, I saw some videos that were talking about it, and yeah, it's just from the proximity.
Oh, wow.
Bunnahabhain describes its tasting notes as dried fruit, toasted nuts, vanilla, and a delicate coastal influence. I definitely get the sweet fruitiness that's inherent of a scotch, but I feel like it tastes like drinking a scotch while at a fireplace by the ocean. There's a little bit of smokiness, and you also get a little bit of brininess. Like when you're at the beach and you lick your lips and you can taste the salt on your lips. It's almost reminiscent of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
At 92.6 proof, it's a little stronger than most other scotches in the market, but it's not too high that it would turn away a beginner. At $66, the price would, however. So I would recommend trying it at a bar before pulling the trigger. Like I stated, Johnnie Walker Black is very similar as far as smokiness goes. So if you're unfamiliar with peated whiskey, I recommend trying that first and see if you like it. You can buy a shot bottle for about $5 or $6 on most liquor stores. If you already know that you like that flavor profile and want to try a more refined single malt version of that, then it's an easy buy recommendation. Now that I discovered it, I can never see myself not having it in stock.
Oh, it's that good, eh?
It is. It is really good.
All right. Good to know.
So I don't know if you could see in the container, there's a picture of a captain on there.
Yeah, he's like at the helm.
Exactly. So what's the deal with the ship captain on the packaging? Unlike other Scotch distilleries, this one is not particularly old. It was established in 1881. Up until 1960, the only way you could reach the distillery was by boat. That was the only way that they could move their product. The captain in the nautical themes is a tribute to those that would traverse by boat to distribute their whiskey to other parts of the world. Just like its proximity to other distilleries that use peat infuses a little bit of the smokiness to Bunnahabhain's whiskey. And I also think that proximity to the ocean gives it a little bit of that brininess that I was talking about earlier, which I actually think is very pleasant.
Yeah, how cool.
Have you ever had this Scotch before, Isela?
I've never had that one before, no. But I like that the bottle looks like a cigar. Doesn't it look like a giant cigar? Like that black part looks like the label of it.
Kind of. Let me show you the bottle, what the actual bottle itself looks like. You know how Scotch usually comes in really fancy containers? The bottle actually looks pretty metal.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I don't know if you could see it.
Oh, yeah. It's really cool. I like the little flourishings at the top. So for the people that are listening, there's like a stamp in the top, and then there's like a little flourishing of etchings that kind of curl up and around.
Yeah, I don't know if that's supposed to be like that rope that sailors have. I think that's what it's supposed to be, but I'm not very familiar with nautical themes, so I'm not sure if that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we're landlocked, so we live in a desert, so we wouldn't know about that.
Very true, yeah. That's not something that we encounter very often.
No.
But yeah, I'm anxious for you to try it, see what you think, see if you can get that brininess.
Yeah.
It's very subtle, but it's like when you lick your lips, you can kind of taste it. I don't know, maybe it might just be a mental thing, but...
Yeah. No, that sounds cool. I mean, if you were already picking up on the peaty flavor, and that was just from nearby other distilleries or whatever, that sounds so neat.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
A few weeks prior to that, I had bought this other one called Bomar 12. That one was recommended by Richard Campbell, who is my Yoda. So I went and I bought it, and one of the guys that I spoke to, he looked at me and he was like, I don't know if you've ever had peated whiskey before. And he was like, that one's not it's an overly peaty, but you are definitely going to taste it. And he had actually recommended the Bunnahabhain. So if you want to get into peated whiskey, I recommend you try this one first.
Oh, good. Okay.
But I did buy the Bomar, and I did like it a lot. I thought it was really good.
Oh, but you can taste the difference though, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one, I don't know how many parts per million it is, but in my research, I read that anything that's like above like 30 is when people start saying, oh, I can taste that it's peaty. And I guess that's when people get like that medical gauze taste.
Oh, yeah.
So when I was drinking that one, I could see what those people were talking about, but I still thought that it was really good.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That one tasted more like maybe I was closer to the campfire at the beach.
Okay.
Or maybe I was sitting next to the campfire after somebody had put it out and it was just smoking.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'll definitely save a little bit for you to try it, but more likely than not, I'll just rebuy this whenever I'm out.
Pour some out for the homies.
Yeah. All right, since Isela said pour one out for the homies, special shout out to our super homie, super friends, Sophia, Natasha, OG Eric, Angie, Eli, Madtown Charity, Katya, Victor, Christine, Josh, AI Eric, and Rebecca.
Woohoo!
If you want to be super cool and help support the show, get the episodes a week early and ad-free, get your name shouted out on the show, and get some stickers from us a few times a year, check us out at patreon.com/technicallyaconversation or check the show notes. Best of all, it's only $2 a month, baby. You can even buy a shot bottle of Johnny Walker Black for that. It'll cost you at least $5.
And thank you guys so, so much. We really, really appreciate all our patrons, our superest of friends.
Definitely. And on that high note, we hope that you enjoyed the show and you join us again next week. If you're enjoying the show, leave us a review, tell a friend, and subscribe wherever fine podcasts are sold. Follow us on the socials at GreetingsTAC. Email us at greetingstac@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 915-317-6669. If you have a story of when you were hunted down by a man-eater to share with us.
Like the tigress that you are.
So I recommend trying it at a bar before pulling the before pulling the finger.
I heard that too. I was like, pulling the finger. Whoa. Pulling the trigger.
Yeah.